is John Colo at DiscountJuicers.com. Today we have another exciting episode for you. And it's a sad day here at Discount Juicers when I hear there's a problem with one of my favorite juicers that's currently on the market at this time. What we have here today is a Slowstar juicer. That's a juicer that is my current favorite model that's actually available on the market at this time. And it's the one that I've used so much and I've got to know so very well. Now, I wish there was a juicer out there that said, I could say, hey, buy this juicer, it'll be everything for you. I don't know if there's any one particular product or anything in life that's like the best of everything and is going to cover all your bases. With juicers, there are always pros and cons, and you need to carefully weigh them before purchasing a juicer to ensure you're going to get the best juicer that meets your needs, because my needs are probably different than your needs unless you're my twin, which actually I don't have. So, that's why I make all these videos for you guys, so you guys could watch them and determine which juice will best meet your needs. Because, once again, the one that meets my needs the best might not be the one for you. So what happened in this situation here is that a customer purchased this machine, and, they had actually been in a brain injury, traumatic brain injury, and they're hoping that by making dietary changes and feeding themselves some of the best foods, the healthiest foods on earth, not the foods at the health food store, but fresh fruits and vegetables, which in my opinion are the best foods on earth. And by using a juicer, they could get more of those delicious, good, nutritious foods in their body and make a difference in their life and hopefully, maybe even improve their condition. So they were excited, they saw my videos, they got excited about juicing, they got the juicer, they started juicing, and then I got a note in the email, and it said this. It said, when juicing baby carrots and apples, large pieces of produce were not juiced. The pulp had large amount of juice in it. It seems like a lot of fruits and vegetables produce a small amount of juice. So consequently, they wanted to return it. And I've never had another person return a Slowstar juicer. The satisfaction rate is actually very high once you learn how to use it properly. I mean, it's the same thing with the car. You get a brand new car, it might be a stick shift and you're used to an automatic. You jump in the car, you put it into drive or first gear and you press go and it doesn't start. Well, that's because it's got a clutch. You have to learn how to do the clutch and, put it in gear with the clutch in and then let the clutch out while you're putting on the gas and all this kind of stuff. And juicers are like that. I mean, it's a brand new machine, a brand new kitchen appliance in your kitchen, and most people aren't familiar with using juicers. Actually, most people have never used a juice in their life. So much like any appliance, when you get your new iPhone, you can maybe figure out how to make a phone call, but you don't know how to use all the apps, how to download apps, how to do all the different functions on it, right? And you might only learn how to use a few of them, and just do the things on your iPhone you really need to know how to use, and not like all the different things that it can do, because they can do a lot, maybe even make you juice one day. But the juicers are the same way. There's many different features when using a juicer, and there's ways to optimize so that you'll get the best results. So in this video, what I'm going to do is we're going to go ahead and open this box that got actually returned to us here, and we're going to inspect it, and I'm actually going to juice some carrots and apples and other things and explain to you guys how to properly juice in the Slowstar juicer. And we're going to get to see if this machine was in fact defective, or the customer maybe had some kind of buyer's remorse, because it concerns me when I get a return machine, because up till now everybody's been satisfied with the Slowstar, and that's very important. I want to make sure you guys get the juicer that you're going to get, but not only get, but the one that you're going to use in your life every single day, so that you can get more fruits and vegetables in your life to make the differences that you want to see. I've learned that it's very simple in life. You put the right stuff in, you get the right stuff out. And one of the big problems in America today, in my opinion, is that people are putting the wrong stuff in and their bodies are just not working properly. And by putting more fresh fruits and vegetables in, putting the best stuff in, and the juice is one of the best appliances to do that. So without further ado, let's go ahead and open up this guy and check it out and see what's going on with this Slowstar, and see if we can get it working properly, but more importantly, share with you guys my common questions and answers with the Slowstar and how to get the most out of your Slowstar, whether you own one currently or are thinking about buying one. Alright, let's go ahead and open this box and take out some of these parts, and hopefully the return's complete and they returned all the parts. My goal for you guys is that, I want you guys to be educated consumers before you buy the juicer. and know how it works and know everything about it, so when you get it, you know exactly how it's going to perform, you know exactly how to use it, so you get the results you want. You know, I don't want to just sell you a juicer, you use it, and then you return it because you don't like it, because you had unrealistic expectations, right? I have over 350 videos now on YouTube where I, take hours out of my life to film and to show you guys how the juicers work and how to best use them, so that you'll get the right juicer the first time. And no other company that I know of takes the amount of time that I do to make the videos, to use the juicer myself, in my kitchen like every day to learn about them, and also travel to factories, talk with manufacturers to, get the best juicers out there and make sure you get fitted just like that shoe salesman is trying to fit you with that right size shoe. I try to fit you with the right juicer the first time. So yeah, let's go ahead and pull this guy out and see what we got. Oh, we got some packing snow on it. But yeah, here it is. Looks like it's in pretty good shape. Actually barely used. Maybe it was used like once or twice. Let's go ahead and pull out some of these other parts. So this is the top of the machine. One of the very important pieces that comes with the Slowstar that is not included with some other vertical auger juicers is a nice stainless steel sieve. So this sieve is very important in all vertical juicers. Whether you get one with the juicer like in the Slowstar or not, the vertical auger juicers produce some of the most pulp of any juicer out there. Now you can drink the pulp, but if you don't like it, that's alright. Use the strainer to strain it out. Alright, here's the main juicing apparatus. And we're going to go ahead and assemble this onto the machine. And assembly and disassembly of the Slowstar can be daunting your first time. But once you get it, once you know how to line up all the dots, you could totally do it. This looks like it's all lined up. We're going to go ahead and put this guy together. Be sure to check my other videos on the Slowstar. I have an original Slowstar unboxing video where I go over all this specific information in detail. I'm not going to get into it in this video. Let's see here. We also have the pusher. That's also very important. Used to push the produce in the machine as needed sometimes. And the other thing that's very important that is included with the Slowstar is a specially designed cleaning brush. This is probably the most unique and coolest cleaning brush that comes with any machine because it's the most functional. Not only do you have a brush to clean off the juicing screen, you have a brush on the top, to get in the hard to reach areas. And then in addition, on this back side, you have a little screwdriver tip that has a little rake to it. So this is very useful for like getting in the ejection port to clean all the pulp out when you're cleaning the machine. Now, one of the other things I like about the Slowstar, unlike any other juicer on the market, any vertical juicer on the market at this time, it has this setup here. And what this setup is simply, it's called a mincing attachment. I might talk about this a bit later on, but what this does, this allows you to make frozen banana sorbets, things like nut butters. I've actually been using this to grate up my cabbage to make a sauerkraut. You can actually make a salsa in here. You could actually turn eggplant into raw dehydrated vegan chicken strips by putting full eggplant through there. It just kind of grates it up and then you sauce it up and then you dehydrate it. I mean, there's so many different unique uses you can use with a mincing attachment besides just mincing. It's incredible, and I've learned to love it a lot because it's the easiest attachment to any juicer I've found that will allow you to mince and homogenize things, because literally there's only 3 parts to clean: the auger, the top, and this part. Go ahead and put that back in the box for now, since we'll not be testing this thing. And of course, finally, you're going to get your juice catch cups to catch your juice and your pulp. You get 2 identical ones. One catches the juice here, and one catches the pulp. And of course, in the box, you're also going to get the instruction manual and the warranty card. So the warranty is another important aspect on any juicer that you may consider purchasing. The Slowstar has a full 10-year warranty, and it's important to me that you guys get a juicer with a long warranty, because that's your assurance that the appliance that you're buying, this health appliance, will be working in your kitchen for many years to come and provide you the ability to include and eat more fresh fruits and your vegetables in your diet to get the beneficial results. Alright, so that's pretty much what's in this box. I guess the next thing is, let's go ahead and bring out some carrots, apples, celery, and some other produce that I'll be juicing for you guys today to share with you guys how to do it. Alright, so now we're back and we're going to get juicing here just in a second, but before I do, actually I want to share one of the cool things about the Trivaz Corporation that's bringing you the Slowstar machine. One of the things I respect about them is that they're always trying to improve the machine. And you know, just because you bought one in the past doesn't mean you're gonna be left behind with all the latest upgrades. TriBest has a policy whereas most upgrades made to the machines are going to be provided to the previous purchasers at no cost. Of course, some upgrades may have a nominal fee, but the majority of them, especially when it's correcting a defect and going to improve the machine and make your user experience better, definitely should be covered, you know, for free at no charge, in my opinion. And so TriBest is doing just that. So first thing I'm going to check with this machine is I'm not sure when this came out. All current machines have this first upgrade I'll be talking about. So when the original machine came out, it probably came out about 6 months ago. The machine had some challenges, and they found actually they had to actually improve and upgrade the bowl assembly and the screen. So we're going to go ahead and take this guy apart and pull out the bowl and screen assembly. So this is the bowl assembly right here. They did upgrade this part. I'm not sure about how we can tell if this is upgraded or not, but the thing I will know is if they upgraded the screen. Now the screen and the bowl assembly both need to be upgraded, and this was the first official upgrade. It's like that factory service bulletin, like when you get your car recalled because they need to fix something. It's kind of like that. You know, users were not notified, but if you called in and you were having problems with your machine, because this didn't affect all the machines, they would upgrade you at no charge. So how to determine if you have the new upgraded screen or not is you're just going to take the screen, flip it over the bottom, and you're just going to count the little openings, the little U-grooves in the bottom of the screen. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 total U-grooves in the bottom of this screen. And what these U-grooves do is that this keeps the screen in place inside the machine so that you do not get any screen rotation or screen movement when juicing. Other models, other vertical auger juices I've seen can have some screen play in some situations, and that's just inherent in the design. And then what happens in that case is that the bottom of the screen kind of wears a little bit. The plastic rubs, and it looks like you get some nice sanding marks on the bottom. For reference, we're going to take a look at the old screen. So this is the pre-upgrade screen. If we look at the bottom, and if we count the bottom, we got 1, 2, 3 openings on that one, and this one once again has 6 on the bottom. So this is definitely the latest and upgraded parts with the new screen. If you got the new screen, you definitely got the new bowl setup. Now the next upgrade that came out that I'm not sure about on this machine is they upgraded this little seal in here. So what this little seal in here does, it allows none of the juice that's inside the machine to leak on the bottom of the motor housing, and this actually is a problem that I have seen with some Slowstar machines, even including on my personal machine. When juicing, in some instances, depending on what you're juicing and how you're juicing it, there'll be some juice on the bottom of the machine here. Now, all vertical slow juicers have been known to leak some juice on the top of the motor housing sometimes. Now, should it happen every single time? Of course not. Sometimes, you know, there'll be a little bit of juice on there. That's just the nature of the beast. But I noticed that it was happening much more frequently with the Slowstar. I contacted the manufacturer, as had other customers, and they have improved the little bushing in there and will send you this bushing at no charge to reduce the leakage, you know, on their machine. So I definitely like this a lot. So the last upgrade that is not yet available, and I don't even know if I should be telling you guys this, is that the Slowstar will have an attachment to go on front of the machine that's basically going to be a little juice flap. So at this present time, it's just a rumor and vaporware. Hopefully it'll materialize in the next few months, and I'll be sure to have a video on it. That'll make it cleaning a little bit easier for you and also prevent drips on your counter. So I'm looking forward to that. And I appreciate TriBest constantly improving their machines and making the upgrades public. You know, other companies are not so progressive with the upgrades. Once they got a machine, usually they just kind of keep it, and that's what they got. But I like TriBest because they're continually trying to improve, and that's the kind of company I want you guys to work with. You know, the companies that are going to make their product better even after you buy it. You know, so imagine if you got the iPhone 5 and you could hit a few buttons and get an iPhone 5S instantly, right? Well, with the Slowstar, you could do just that. Anyways, let's go ahead and reassemble this machine and share with you guys what I'll be juicing today. So today I'm going to make one of my favorite juices. It's known as a green juice or green vegetable juice because it has lots of leafy greens but also other vegetables. You know, most people don't have a problem eating fruit. It's so delicious. It tastes so good, but You know, most people don't sit and gnaw or eat about, you know, I don't know, 3/4 of a pound of carrots, because who does that, right? But by using the juicer, you can now get some of these produce items that you wouldn't normally eat in your diet into your diet and get the nutrition out of them, because the juicer removes the fiber. And in some cases, I think that may be a good thing, especially when juicing, you know, once a day, to remove the fiber to get the nutrients from the produce items. Of course, the rest of the day, you're eating all different kinds of things, hopefully a diet rich in fruits and vegetables, grains, and nuts, which do contain fiber. So we don't need to get fiber every single meal. You'll be fine, in my opinion, with one meal with some juice without the fiber. So what we're juicing today we're juicing a bunch of carrots. Next, we're juicing a romaine heart. The romaine heart is a lettuce, and it's a leafy green. Adds a lot of nice neutral, mild tasting water content, but also nutrition. In addition, we got some celery stalks, and celery, very high in electrolytes. I like them a lot. And of course, we got the powerhouse of our leafy greens, fresh picked out of my garden. We got the Swiss chard here. We got some nice dinosaur kale here, and we got some collard greens in the back. Now, besides these guys, which you could juice alone, I'm also going to add 2 apples in for a little bit of sweetness. You know, the apples are optional, and you don't need to juice them if you don't want to, but I like to add a little bit of flavor in there to sweeten it up a little bit, and you guys might also want to do that. And this recipe here is perfectly optimized for the Slowstar juicer. Say you want to juice like, John, I want to make an only apple juice because I own an apple orchard and apple trees. Should I get the Slowstar to juice only apples? Well, you know, while the Slowstar and the vertical auger juices are probably one of the best juices for juicing apples, if you own an apple orchard and you want to juice them, I'd recommend what they used in the old days, an old school, you know, grinder and a press, you know, like the hydraulic press that presses out the apple juice. I mean, once again, every different type of juicer is better or worse at juicing certain produce items. The verticals tend to be good at when you're juicing a wide range of produce items, such as leafy greens, hard vegetables, and even some fruits along with it. So if you wanted to juice like mostly or all leafy greens, while the Slowstar will do the best job of all the vertical juices I've tested, I'd probably go with a horizontal auger style machine instead. So now that you know what we're juicing, you might think, okay, John, now what? You're just going to turn the machine on and start putting a leaf in, a celery in, some leafy greens in, some carrots in, and just juice it, right? You could juice all the carrots first, and then you're going to do the romaine, then you're going to do all the celery, then you're going to do the leafy greens, and then you're going to do the apples until they're all gone, right? That'd be a really bad idea. You know, once again, just like using your iPhone, you need to press the right buttons in the right order, you know, to make a phone call. And even when dialing a phone number, you can't just put the numbers in. You got to put the numbers in the right order. So it's the same thing when using the juicer. You want to, number one, select the produce carefully at the market. For example, if you get apples and they're soft and old and mushy, they're not going to juice well. They're going to make more of an apple sauce. So you want to pick nice, firm apples and fruits when juicing. Likewise, you want to get fresh carrots that are nice, hard, and firm, not ones that are bendy and wilty and old. You want to get romaine hearts that are nice and crisp and not, you know, sitting in the grocer's store shelves for a long time and getting wilty. You want to get celery that's nice and crisp, fresh, dark green as possible. And you want to get leafy greens that are of the utmost quality and, once again, not wilty, not soft. You want to get them fresh as possible. And to get the freshest produce possible, actually, I recommend you guys grow them, because literally, I was just out in my garden picking these guys. Now they're in here. Now I'm going to juice them, and they're the freshest ever. And I don't care where in the country you live, you could always grow some vegetables outside year-round if done properly. And you could also grow microgreens and other things inside your kitchen that's actually really good to juice as well. So now we're going to share with you guys actually the proper way to juice in the Slowstar juicer, especially when juicing some of these different items. So for example, on the carrots, if the carrot will fit into the feed chute, you pretty much don't have to do anything. So when selecting carrots to buy, I like to get smaller diameter carrots instead of those nice big fat diameter carrots. Those fat diameter carrots would not fit, so then you'd have to take the knife, you'd have to cut the carrot lengthwise, you know, in order to fit. We don't have to do that with these carrots today because they're all a nice small diameter. Now with the romaine heart, you know, the romaine heart, it won't quite fit in the machine, but the romaine has a nice soft texture, and so you could actually just take off individual leaves and stuff them in the machine, or you might want to cut them up into smaller bits. I think I will leave them whole. Next, on the celery. Now the celery we will need to prepare. One of the problems with the celery are these nice long fiber strings. As you guys can see, I'm peeling off the strings there, right? These are the very strings that get stuck in your teeth, and you know, you gotta then use a dental floss, right? Well, these strings will also clog up the juicer. On all vertical auger juicers, they basically gotta do a right angle turn, so it juices it, the juice comes out, and then the pulp comes down, and then it has to come out the side, which is right here. It comes down and comes out. And so if you don't cut these strings up, they will clog up this machine. This is imperative to do if you're juicing more than, say, 8 ounces of juice. If you're juicing like 8 ounces of juice, you could get away without cutting the strings off, because by the time the juicers clog up, you're done juicing anyway. So yeah, we're gonna have to chop these guys up. Now on the leafy greens here, we're gonna have the same problem as the celery. The stalks of the leafy greens here, the stem area, once again, the stem actually has a lot of strings. I don't know if I'll be able to peel off these strings here for you on these, on this here, but you can see I got a couple of small strings. But once again, the stalks of the leafy greens will also clog up the right angle on the machine, so they must be pre-cut for optimal use. Now on the apples, they're really easy. Just cut them into pieces that'll actually fit in the machine, and you're all set and ready to go. So what I like to do after I have all my produce is I like to take it and pre-cut everything. So we're going to take our big bunch of celery, and we're going to put it on the cutting board, line them all up, and we're just going to take our knife, and I'm just going to cut it up. And what I'm doing is I'm cutting it up into small little pieces. You know, the manufacturers might say, oh, cut it into 1 inch. You know, I recommend even smaller. You know, I don't want to just get results. I want to get the best results. And the best results I've found is you get by cutting into 1/8 inch pieces. So this is an 1/8 inch, like that small. You want to cut it as small as possible. The smaller you cut it, the better time, the better the juice will be able to work. And I want to make things easy on my juicer. And yeah, this takes a little bit of time, and that's all right, because we're going to get the best performance and the least amount of blockages. Now, of course, if you don't want to have to pre-cut any produce like this, you can get a juicer that you do not have to pre-cut the produce in, such as the Slowstar 3 machine, which is made by Tribest, and that's a horizontal auger machine. You do not need to pre-cut your produce on that one, because that one will just literally grind up all the produce. Another machine you don't have to pre-cut your produce on is the Green Star Elite machine. That's Tribest twin gear machine. They actually, on things like celery and carrots, will get a higher yield even than this Slowstar here. Alright, so as you guys can see, I cut up all the celery there, and what I like to do once I got everything cut up is I like to make little piles on my cutting board. So I like to use actually a large cutting board, as large as possible, and I'll put all the different produce items in a little pile, much like a little, if you go to a buffet, the buffet has like the salad greens, and they have the shredded beets, and they have the shredded carrots, and the salad dressing all separate. I'll make little piles on my cutting board that I'll just be able to basically grab a handful and put in the machine and drop it in and let it continue to juice, you know, while I'm working on feeding everything. Next, we're going to take our leafy greens. So once again, I like to line up the leafy greens like in a big pile. Line up all the stems just like this. And maybe like even sometimes I try to roll it into like a big fat cigar, so it'll be easier to cut. And once again, I'm just going to take the knife and cut it into 1/8 inch pieces. It's definitely more critical when you get down to where the stem is. This is the softer area that does not have any stem. And this technique is actually a really useful technique if you want to make a salad at night. I like to use this technique. It's called a chapinade, and it basically makes long, thin strings of your salad or whatever. Like I could eat the celery like this as a salad instead of a salad. I could also use these leafy greens now when it's shredded up nice and thin, and I put a delicious dressing on. So now we're cutting through all the stalks into small little pieces that will not get stuck in the ejection port of the machine. Alright, now that we got that done, once again, we're just going to go ahead and make a nice little pile of all our leafy greens. So we got our leafy green pile, and we got our celery pile. We even got some area in the back of the cutting board, so we're going to take our apples and we're just going to go ahead and cut those guys up into pieces that will fit inside the machine. Now that we got our piles, now we get to feed everything in the machine, and now this is the part that you want to pay attention to. You want to ensure you prepare your produce properly and then feed them in the proper order. So what I find best is that you always want to put the softest thing in first. So the apples are the softest produce item that we have. We're going to put like something like the apples in first. Then we're probably going to do the romaine, because that's kind of soft too. Then we're probably going to do like some leafy greens, followed by a handful of celery, and then a carrot. You always want to put the carrot in last in the rotation. The carrot really provides the juice or the fiber that will help ream out like the Roto-Rooter, and will push through all the stuff that's clogged up or maybe sitting inside the machine. So we're just going to do that. So let's go ahead and turn this machine on. Runs at a low 47 RPM. This is the slowest running juicer that is available in the US market that I'm aware of at this time. So once again, we're going to take an apple, dump that in there. Then we're going to take, a couple pieces of romaine leaves and just simply put that in there. You may need to use the pusher for pushing things whole. One of the things I like is that if you do end up pre-cutting the pieces into small pieces, the Slowstar machine is literally self-feeding, so you don't have to use a pusher. I personally really don't like when I have to use the pusher on the machine. Push every single piece of produce item in. If you cut it small enough, this machine is auto-feeding. So next, what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and put in some of the, I think the leafy greens. We're going to go ahead and put a handful of leafy greens in here. We're going to go ahead and put a handful of celery in here. After that, we're going to follow with the carrot, and check it out, this guy's literally auto-feeding. We're going to dump that guy in the top. You can hear it crunching off chunks and chunks of the carrot, and now it's making all that juice, and we got the pulp coming out. So once you finish with the rotation, you're just going to repeat. So let me go ahead and repeat the process. Once again, apple, why don't we put in like one romaine piece. Gotta go ahead and put some leafy greens in there. Some celery, followed by a carrot. All I simply have to do now is repeat this process until I'm finished. So we'll come back at you when I'm getting close to being done juicing. So now we're about a little bit over halfway through juicing. It's working really great. And the one thing I want you guys to pay attention about when juicing is the outlet port here. This is probably the most important thing you want to be aware of when feeding things in the juicer, because it's the outlet port that provides you with the feedback on how you're doing. And what we're going to look for is the outlet port over here is like, say, this wide, and the pulp will not always flow out of 100% of the feed chute or the outlet ports. What you want to ensure is that there's still pulp flowing. Depending on what you're juicing, the pulp outlet port may be like the pulp coming out maybe 75% of the whole port, or it may be as low as 25%. Only with time you'll know how much should be flowing. Say you make the same juice each and every day, you're like most days, 75% pulp is flowing out, the width. And say one day you do it, it's only 25%. Well, maybe you didn't pre-cut things properly, so it's not working as well as it could. If pulp stops flowing out of the outlet port, then that means you have a log jam or a produce jam inside the machine, in which case I would recommend turning off the machine, disassembling it, cleaning it all out before restarting the juice. This is the most important thing. You want to make sure things are ejecting out of the machine. If you do not feed produce properly in the machine like I'm showing you guys today, there's a few things that are going to happen. Number one, you're going to get a log jam. Number two, your yield is going to go down. So the juice you're making is going to be less. Number three, you're going to start to get a really excessively pulpy juice. You might think, this juicer sucks, it makes too much pulpy juice. Well, maybe that's because you're not using it properly. So, it's important to use it properly so that the machine could work the best possible way. So another thing I want to share with you guys that's really important when using the Slowstar juicer or any other vertical auger style juicer is that you want to slow down. I mean, it's in the name, Slowstar. You want to slow down. You don't want to just keep putting in produce as fast as you can and jamming it in there with the pusher. I want to get done. I got to get out of here, man. I got to get to work. Well, I know everybody's got to go to work and they got stuff to do. I got stuff to do too. But you got to slow down a little bit, if you want to get the best results when juicing. If you put things in too fast, you're probably going to get a log jam or backup situation, which means you're going to probably generate more pulp. You're going to get a lower yield, and it's just not going to work as well. And it's going to make trouble for you in the long run. So do it right the first time is what I like to say. So it looks like I'm just about done juicing. I've pretty much used almost all my apples except one. Let's go ahead and put that baby in there. I've used all my romaine hearts, and we got about a handful or two of the celery and the greens left. Let's go ahead and put those in the machine. We'll be all done with these guys too. There we go. I think we got all of them. And now we're left over with some carrots. And that's the one thing I want to let you guys know about is you always want to end up, whenever you're juicing, with the hard produce item. So hopefully they're the carrots. I find that if you juice anything with carrots in the Slowstar or the vertical auger juicers, it's just going to work the best. And rotate. Say you want to do apple juice, do apple, carrot, apple, carrot, apple, carrot. Keep rotating until you're out. It's going to work a lot better than just trying to do straight apples alone. So we're going to dump one carrot in there and check it out. I've measured fairly well actually. I made about 32 ounces of juice, which is enough for my breakfast. And we're just pretty much out of pulp. So we got 2 more carrots to go. Second to last one. Maybe give that guy a little help. Let it go down. And you want to listen when using the machine and look down the feed chute. And don't put anything in until it's done working on what it's currently working on. It's you trying to it's like you if you had a full mouth of stuff and you want to man, this cake is good, but you want to eat it as fast as you can, but you can't because your mouth's full and you need to chew and swallow before you put the next bite of cake. Well, you want to let the machine work on all that carrot before you put the next one. So here's the last carrot. We're going to drop that guy in there, and this is a good sign, right? We put the carrots in last, and if you really look at the pulp coming out on this side, you see only carrot pulp. That means it has pushed all the greens and everything else through the machine, and that's definitely really good. So the last thing is I want to remind you guys is when you're done juicing in the Slowstar, any vertical auger machine, you want to let the juice run, I don't know, another 30 seconds or a minute before you turn off the machine. In this way, you're going to get all the yield, all the juice out of the machine. If you turn off the machine prematurely, you may have extra produce stuck inside the middle of the machine. Alright, so the machine's been running. We're pretty much done juicing. Let's go ahead and turn that guy off. Now, you could drink this juice as is, but what I recommend, because it will have some pulp in there, is that you can strain it out. And once again, the Slowstar actually comes with a nice stainless steel strainer. So instead of putting the strainer on top to let the pulp go through the strainer into the collection cup when juicing, I recommend actually juicing into a little cup and then getting another little pitcher and putting the strainer on top of that. And then actually when you're done, you're going to go ahead and I like to put the pulp catch bin underneath so it doesn't get any drips on my countertop there. And we're just going to go ahead and slowly pour this through the stainless steel strainer here. And once I get a little bit in there, I like to kind of just shake it up a little bit. As you guys can see, the strainer is doing its job, definitely catching a fair bit of pulp. Now, nothing wrong with drinking the pulp. Some people just don't particularly care to have a nice, more rich, full-bodied juice. Now, this pulp is fiber, so if you're concerned about, John, I don't like drinking juice because it doesn't have fiber, that's all right. Leave this pulp in. If you're more of a juice purist like I am, I don't particularly care for eating the fiber with my juice. I prefer to get it at another meal in my day. So we're going to strain this stuff out. Now, the fiber that you're straining out, you could definitely still eat it. Like sometimes I like to just take it and eat it, and it's actually kind of nice and soft and really watery. I think what I'll do with this fiber is feed it to my little doggy. He loves this fiber. There's a lot of juice in there, so there's good nutrition. And it's in a nice broken down state because we know dogs don't have teeth like we do. They don't chew so well, especially the vegetables. So it's good to give your dogs like this kind of fiber here. Sometimes I'll even share some of my juice with them. And sometimes I'll even mix some of the pulp in with his dog food to extend his dog food and ensure he gets some vegetables in his diet as well. Let's go ahead and pour some more of this stuff through here and strain it out. Alright, so it looks like we're just about done straining out the juice. We just got a little bit of more juice in this juice container here. We're going to go ahead and pour that in our little strainer here, and we're going to go ahead and let the strainer do its job. Alright, so I think I'm done shaking out all this pulp. As you guys can see, we got a nice little, what I like to call pulp patty in here. I think we're going to go ahead and put this in a little container here. As you guys can see, we have a little container of pulp. Once again, you can't eat this, put it in a salad, feed your dogs, whatever you like. I'm going to keep it separate. And we got the juice here, so now I'm going to go ahead and try the juice. Nice, delicious, rich juice. So good. I love that pulp-free element. This is definitely something to live for. Now the next thing I want to show in this common questions and answered video for the Slowstar is the cleaning. This is where some challenges arise with some customers with the cleaning, because it's a little bit different than other vertical slow juicers and a lot different than most juicers on the market. So next we're going to go ahead and share my tips and tricks on cleaning the Slowstar with you. So the first tip on cleaning the Slowstar is before you even disassemble a machine, you're going to want to do this one thing. You're going to go ahead and put the pulp collection bin back where it should be. You're going to put the juice catch bin where it should be. You're going to turn the machine on, and you're going to take minimum like 32 ounces of water, maybe even 64 ounces, and you're going to pour it through the machine. Look, we're getting more juice. Well, now this is a diluted juice with remnant particles of what's left in the machine. And if you notice, you can see the juicer is actually slowly starting to kick some of the pulp out of the machine. What this does is this allows the machine to be more efficient, get some of that extra pulp out of the machine automatically for you so you don't have to. This will also make the juicer a little bit easier to disassemble because there will be less pulp clogging up the machine. Let's go ahead and pour the rest of this water through the machine to help self-clean the machine. Alright, now that the water is run through the machine, you can now turn the machine off, stop it. The next thing you're going to want to do is unplug the machine before you start to take it apart to clean it. And then now this is the disassembly part. So the first step is I like to just go ahead and take off the top piece here. This is very simple to clean. I like to just basically run this under the water faucet. As you guys can see, there's very little residues or anything left on this piece, so it's really easy to clean. Next is, you might be tempted to like, okay, the auger's there, John. I like to take two hands, and let me go ahead and move some of this stuff out the way for you guys. I like to go ahead and take two hands and just kind of put one finger here, and just kind of pry it up. Oh, John, the auger's stuck, man, I can't get it out. So if that's the case for you because you're not strong enough to pull the auger up, if you're a nice strong guy, you could do that. Once again, got one finger under this side, one finger of this, and pull it up. If you're a lady, you might not be able to do this, that's alright. We're going to show you the easy way to do it. So the easy way is once you have it to this point, you're going to take the back of the handle here, and it says open and close. Currently it's set to close. We're going to go ahead and rotate this towards the open, and then we can lift this whole unit out, the whole assembly out, take it to our sink to clean it. And now check out how easy the auger comes out. We're going to go ahead and turn this guy over, take my finger right in the middle, push down on that shaft there, and very simply the auger comes out. And check it out, because we ran the water through there, this auger is virtually cleaned itself. Yeah, there's a little bit of residue on the bottom that we'll have to brush out, and one of the big concerns is, John, I took my auger apart after cleaning, man, and there's all this pulp on the underside of the machine. What's going on? Okay, so this is completely normal on the Slowstar juicer, right? Once again, you want to prepare the produce properly, cut it properly, feed it properly. You're going to minimize the amount of pulp on the bottom of the auger. But this is completely normal. This is just part of the design and how the Slowstar juicer works. Nothing wrong with that. So what you're going to do is you're going to remember that special cleaning brush I showed you guys earlier with that little raked tip. You could go ahead, take this little raked tip here and put it inside here and spin this guy around inside there. And look, we're just going to very simply and easily get all that pulp that was in the auger, man, and there was actually a fair bit in there, and remove it and put it in our pulp collection bin. Now, I recommend you use your pulp not just to throw away, put it down your garbage disposal, which is actually a really bad idea. You want to compost it, so whether you're going to feed it to a worm bin, red wigglers, or whether you're going to compost this in your own home compost bin, I definitely recommend that. But as you guys can see now, we got that simply and easily cleaned. We even have a special cleaning brush in here. You could get that in there and clean inside here. I like to run this underwater while I'm doing that. Once again, get all the rest of my pulp and put it in the little collection bin so I could compost it. Now look, this is virtually clean. It'll be simple and easy just to rinse off. The next part you're going to have to clean is probably the most difficult part on any machine, is the juicing screen. This is the juicing screen. And what I like to do on the juicing screen, once again, we're going to take that screwdriver end tip, and if you see any pulp like lodged in the holes, I like to basically take this tip and just kind of run it against the screen to kind of dislodge some of the pulp that's in there. And once I do this a little bit, then I'll take the other side, a little brush, and just like you're brushing your teeth, you're going to brush the screen of the juicer. Brush it back and forth really quickly. I like to do this underneath running water here. And you're going to remove all the pulp. So I like to do it on the, on one side of the screen and go around the whole thing. Then I'll go in and do the inside. Same thing, I'll just kind of brush it back and forth, up and down to get a different direction to dislodge the pulp. And once again, I'll do this normally under the running water. And then I'll look up at the screen into the light to make sure I get all the holes unclogged. The one thing you want to be assured of when cleaning your juicers, you want to get all the pulp out of the holes. Over time, if you get pulp buildup, the holes get clogged, your yield's going to go down, and your juicer's not going to work properly. Another tip I want to give you guys when cleaning, this is probably the top tip, clean your juicer right after you're done juicing. Don't I'll come back to that and clean it in an hour, because guess what? 1 hour turning into 2, which will turn into 3, and by dinner time you got still dirty juicer. And all that time, the carotenoid pigments of the carrots, the pulp is drying out, it's hardening, and it's going to be harder to clean later on. I mean, minimally, if you're not going to clean the juicer right after you're done juicing, which I recommend first, is take all the parts and soak them in a tub of water. That's definitely going to be the best. So that's how you clean the screen. Super simple, super easy. The next part, once again, is the automatic wiping blade. And very simple. Once again, we're just going to take the brush and brush this down, on both sides of the silicone wiping blade. The silicone wiping blade can be removed, so what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and flip it over and just pull this guy down, and it's just going to basically come out. And now we could easily get in there and clean this all. Now I don't know if I do this every single time, but I'll usually remove the silicone wiping blades once a week to clean in there really well. And to install it back in, we're just going to look at the side here, and I like to put in the top first. There's little grooves that have to go down. Then you're just going to feed it down. You're going to pull the bottom side down a little bit, kind of like that. It's going to be bunched up, and then you're just going to kind of get into the lip and just feed it up, and then it should just go back right into place. Really simple, real easy. Finally, we have the juicing bowl. So the juicing bowl, once again, we're going to use that little screwdriver tip, and we're just going to go ahead and get in the bottom of that little bowl where there's a little crevice, and once again, wipe out all the pulp that's stuck in there. And once again, we're actually just going to put it in our pulp collection bin. Then what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead to the bottom of the machine, and there's this little flap here. This flap, it should always be pushed in when juicing. This keeps back pressure on the machine to ensure you're going to get the highest yield. But when cleaning, we need to remove this. So we're going to go ahead and pull this flap out. As you guys can see, it'll just dangle. We're going to want to wash both sides of this, so I like to brush it down, a little bit of soap and water underneath the sink. And then we're going to have to dislodge all the pulp in this little area here. So once again, I like to use a little screwdriver end tip and put it in there and just get it kind of like behind all the pulp and just wiggle it out. And as you guys can see, I'm wiggling, oops, the whole bit of pulp out, and we'll get it all out once again to go on our collection bin. Then I'll basically just run the water through the parts of this that'll basically loosen the rest of the pulp, and this piece will be clean. Now finally, what I want to show you guys is the top of the motor on the Slowstar after juicing. So in this juicing session, we got basically no drips of juice on top. Here it looked like it looks pretty dry. There might have been just a little bit that came out, but that's completely normal. Now if there is drips each and every time you're juicing, there may be an issue either with the seal. You may need to get a new seal, or you may need to change how you're juicing. Be sure to use the techniques that I showed previously in this video to juice the proper way to minimize the excess leakage. And once again, if you juice improperly, you get a backup, then that's when you get leakage, right? So if you cut everything, feed it, and rotate, you're going to have the minimal leakage on top of the machine, plus it's just going to work better for you. So the last thing I want to cover in this video is the movement of the machine. So when using the juicer, because it's an auger style design, there may be some movement of the auger or rotation of the parts. This is completely normal, so it's no big deal. So hopefully after watching this episode, you've learned more about the Slowstar juicer, some ways that you should properly use it, how you can more easily clean it so that you can get the most out of your Slowstar juicer, whether you already own one or whether you're considering purchasing one. To date, the Slowstar is my favorite vertical single auger style machine that is currently on the market. I look forward to the improvements that TriDesk will be doing in the future to it to dial it in even further and even make it a better machine than it is today. Be sure to subscribe to my YouTube videos for future updates on the Slowstar and other juicers and other juicer comparisons. And be sure to check my past videos if you're still looking to purchase a juicer, for where I do comparisons and compare and contrast different juicers against one another so that you can learn truly the best juicer for you. So once again, this is John Kohler with discountjuicers.com. Be sure to visit discountjuicers.com/YouTube for special promotional offers for our YouTube visitors. Alright, this is John Kohler with discountjuicers.com. Today I have another exciting episode for you. And where we're at today is I'm actually at a friend's house. And the reason for this episode today is because my friends used this very juicer yesterday to